So I want to go to the last section here. Movement. It's a big thing on different movements now, right? There's a movement for this, a movement for that. The way I look at this is that in leadership, if you've ascended to this level of leadership in your growth, in your leadership growth, what you've been able to do is not just get people to respect you and listen to you, but that you've been able to reproduce yourself and other people. But you don't just reproduce for the sake of reproducing. You reproduce for the sake of creating more reproducers. So what that means is that essentially, if I as a leader have a way of thinking, have a way of doing, have a way of creating things, and I invest time into Mary, and I say, Mary, I'm going to train you in these areas, and I'm going to invest time in you, and I'm going to teach you about our core values, and I'm going to add all these things to you. And Mary takes that, she becomes proficient in it, she heard me, she listened, she respected, right? I gained influence in her life. Then she got to a place where it was reproducing her. Now what she can do is go out and reproduce that in other people on the team. So now she can take what I gave her and now reproduce those core values in you, and you, and you. And then you've got it, and now you can take it and do it into someone else, right? That's a movement. So a movement comes from reproducers creating reproducers. So if you look at that in a company, if you look at toxicity is where you have people that are gossiping all the time, that are slandering people, that are causing drama, all those things. And we don't have that here, but that's because we don't allow that to be reproduced here. So this works on both the positive and the negative. The negative side of that is when people start creating toxic, behaviors, if you will, and essentially leadership allows them to become a movement within an organization. And I've been in organizations like that where it's just gossip at different levels and all these things happening. And it's because those people ended up having more leadership than the actual leaders did. If you have more influence and you're able to reproduce at a higher rate and more capacity than the CEO of the company, there's a problem. That generally means the leader himself has an issue that needs to be addressed, or the core leadership team themselves has to be able to put an end to that, because they're allowing things. And what you tolerate is what you promote. If you're tolerating this, you're essentially promoting it to other people and saying it's okay. We're going to let that go. So this is a movement. So essentially, there's these 5 levels. And we can ascend them slow, we can ascend them fast. Generally, when you get to levels, I would say 4 and 5, you've mastered something internally that's created such an amount of value in other people, they become magnetized to what you're doing. And it takes skill, meaning it's something you can learn, you can master it. It's not persuasion as much as it is as being super attentive to people, number one. You have to be attentive to people. You have to be attentive to what they need, what they want, what their motivations are, what drives them, being able to communicate. Perfect example, my communication style is very all over the place. I tend to be a big thinker, big dreamer, all that. But when I'm talking to someone like Mary, I have to slow down and I have to give her the details because that's what helps her. So if I don't do that, she'd be frustrated and she'd already been gone. She'd be like, I can't work for this guy, right? So that's just one example of how we can ascend that mountain, if you will. So going from title to respect usually isn't that hard. Don't be a jerk to people, right? Be nice to people. They'll respect you. Jumping from respect to influence has to do with another John Maxwell quote: people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? So if we care for people, they will feel that. They'll feel empowered by that. But when you jump from influence to reproduction, that's when you go from, in my opinion, delegating to empowering people. And that's where you start to empower people to become better and say, here's how I've done it. Here's what I've done. I'm going to give you all the resources you need, and I'm going to believe in you, and I'm going to empower you to do even greater than I could ever do. That's the principle of reproduction. And then movement comes from doing that across multiple people, where we take people that we know can have influence in our business, in our culture, or whatever, saying, I'm going to invest in these 10 people, and I'm going to watch them grow, and I'm going to give them tools and resources that are necessary to grow our business, grow our organization, to grow culture, whatever it is that you're actually setting out to do. And that's how you create a movement. Not like it's that simple, but essentially that's what it's based on.